Hello, this video or animation will explain the idea of genetic drift. Genetic drift is an idea that describes how a group of people or animals might change over time. Let's demonstrate genetic drift using a group of dot animals. The dot animals come in three colors: red, blue, and yellow. There we had a group with 4 blue dots, 4 red dots, and 4 yellow dots. The adult group or adult generation will now have kids and form a new kid group or kid generation. As you can see, there were 5 red dots born and only 3 blue dots born. This population has more red dots than blue dots. Here we can see genetic drift starting to happen. Before there were equal numbers of blue and red dots, and now there are more red dots than blue dots. The group of dots has changed. Notice individual dots did not change color. Individuals in a group don't change, but the group as a whole changes from one generation to the next. Another thing to notice is that genetic drift is random. Just by chance, red had 5 kids and blue had 3 kids. Blue was not as lucky as red. Now let's look at the dots over more generations. Each slide is a new generation of kids produced from the previous group. It took 12 generations for there to be no more yellow dots. There are now not as many colors of dots. When there are not as many colors of dots, we call this a decrease in diversity. One thing that genetic drift can do is decrease diversity. Now let's look at genetic drift in a larger population or a larger group of dots. It took 22 generations for there to be no more red dots. It took the smaller group only 12 generations to lose a color. This shows an important point about genetic drift, and that is the effects of genetic drift are magnified in smaller populations. Since the effects of genetic drift are magnified in a small population, genetic drift is more likely to decrease variation in a small population than in a large population. This means that a small population is more likely to lose colors than a large population. Since genetic drift is really important in small populations, scientists are really concerned about studying genetic drift in small populations. Nowadays, we have a lot of small populations created because of habitat destruction. For example, if you have a group of bears living in a forest, and then that forest gets cut down, the group of bears will decrease in size and will become a small population that will then be subject to genetic drift. I hope you enjoyed the video.